snake in the lid, analyzing the game from the rink to the field. From the ice to the turf, we'll break it down, discussing every win and every loss in town. We'll talk about the Canucks and the Lions. We are your irrational fans. We are your irrational fans.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 98 of the Hughes Sports Podcast. I am your host, of course, Jake Hughes, normally alongside the old man. However, the old man is still out on injured reserve dealing with pneumonia. We had hoped and expected he was going to be able to make it today. However, one throughout the day, just unable to make it. We are wishing him the best. And right as soon as we go live, we have breaking news throughout the NHL, not related to the Canucks. But the Montreal Canadiens have acquired defenseman Alexander Carrier from the Nashville Predators in exchange for defenseman Justin Barron. Now that is big and touches on a lot of stuff with the Canucks, mainly due to the fact that that was a pretty big name target that people have been talking about within the organization, we're pretty sure, as well as media members, talking about acquiring a defenseman, a right-handed shot with the Canucks. So that is something that is going to be happening. Welcome. This is going to be a quick show. We're only going to be doing about half hour, leading you right into the Canucks taking on the Utah Hockey Club, which, might I add, is the best name in the NHL for a team. Just straight up the Utah Hockey Club. Personally, I think it's the best named team. I think all other teams should take note. All other organizations, all other North American style sports should take notice. The MLS already does it. We should be doing it because it just sounds cool. It's unique. It's different. And it doesn't matter what's going on. You can change up your color scheme. You can change things up. You can get sponsors and everything stays the same. But beyond that, welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks. Last week, we took a break. We an impromptu week off because the old man was diagnosed or came down with pneumonia. I was at maybe at best 60% last week. I'm 100% better. The old man still dealing with things. So I'm going to need you guys in the comment section to be helping me out because let's face it, I'm great at talking, but I don't know if you guys are listening, and I need to get that feedback, get that instant feedback of everything that's going on. As mentioned, we've been gone for a few weeks. The Canucks have been kind of all over the place. As is my thought process. Before we go any further, I just want to mention we are going to be rescheduling Reed Johnson from the Markcast. I was expected that he would join today. We, planned on it. The old man not being able to make it. We're going to reschedule. Old man is the irrational CFL fan. He's going to be the one that I want to lead that conversation because just of his knowledge and passion for the league. So we shortened the day show. We started a little early so we can get you into the Canucks game for their first ever meeting against the Utah Hockey Club in Utah. Comments already coming in from the old man. I know he's on his way home. Apparently, I suck, and we need the old man and the other guy to host. I think coming back early in the new year, we should have a podcast with the other guy, DJ, Superfan, Reed Jackson, me, and the old man. All four of us talking about predictions for the future. I'm just throwing that out there because it's something I want to happen. Doesn't mean it will happen. But if we put it out there, good things will happen. Next week, I'm going to assume we're taking the week off. You'll probably see a lot of tweeting from us during or Xing or posting on Blue Skies or Facebook, wherever it is we are going to be posting. But the World Juniors start in 8 days. Tournament that, if you've watched us for a while, we love. If you've known us for any amount of time, you know this is a tournament that me and the old man, before we even tried to dabble in podcasting, this was something that no matter where the tournament is, no matter what is going on, we make time to watch it, even if it means work's going to have to take a back seat to what's going on, especially when the tournament's overseas. Luckily, the tournament is in Ottawa, so at most will be 2 hours left in the day. Breaking news. Well, not really breaking news. Phil DiGiuseppe and Forbert aren't on the ice for warm-up, meaning they will not be taking, more than likely will not be taking the ice. That is courtesy of Brendan Batchelor, who is your play-by-play guy for Sportsnet 650. Let's talk about this Canucks team that has been kind of all over the place since we talked. The Canucks have gone 3 wins, 3 losses. I'm not going to count overtime losses. I don't care if it was an overtime. Yes, we get points for it. The most concerning stretch and the most confusing stretch to me was last week, the weekend. Basically from Thursday through to Monday, 2 days ago, because Thursday we came out and probably had the best game I've seen. We suffocated, just put a blanket of suffocation on top, suffocation on top of the Panthers and their offense, and didn't allow them to do anything, and were able to get a 4-0 win out of that. Then we had a couple days off, and the Boston Bruins came into town and just had their way with us. 5-1 was the final score. The last goal came, or the one Canucks goal came well into the third, where there was little hope. The team didn't look great. Nothing looked great. And then we came out on Monday, and I think played probably one of the better games we've played, and took out the Avalanche by a score of 3-1. It's not just been me, it's a lot of people commenting on it, but you really can tell what type of game the Canucks are going to have in the first couple minutes of the game, whether it's the first couple shifts. But yeah, it's interesting to see what's going on. And Jeff McClary in chat on Facebook says he smells a trade coming on. You're not the only one. Frank Saravelli making noise again this week on Daily Faceoff Live, basically saying we all know that the Canucks are in deep search for a top 4 defenseman. They might even be looking for 2 defensemen. But the sense of urgency is, I'm going to read it. There seems to be a heightened sense of urgency in the last 24 to 48 hours as to whether or not the Canucks might even be able to get something done before the trade freeze kicks at midnight on Thursday. Now, that was earlier today. Since then, we've seen a flurry of trades in the NHL, including some people that I was really hoping that the Canucks would be on. I talked about it last show when Deej was on, about Will Borgen. And Will Borgen ends up getting traded in a trade that sends Capo Caco to the Kraken, and the Rangers get 2 picks in the 2025 draft for that, plus Will Borgen. And then, just as we mentioned, just as we got on the air, there was the trade that we talked about with, I'm trying to find the trade, Alexander Carrier to the Habs. Looks like there's lots of movement, lots of pieces. I can't see the Canucks making a trade tonight. until after the game at least. That would be my expectation. It'd be shocking to see a team make a trade during a game, but we've seen it happen before. And look, anything's possible, but it would not surprise me to see a trade happening. There's a roster freeze coming tomorrow night at midnight, 11:59 p.m. on the 19th. Canucks are playing games both Wednesday and Thursday. I would not be surprised if there is a trade to be made that it's announced later tonight or very early tomorrow morning, as you don't love having game day skates, players getting warmed up, ready to go, don't only have to pull them and let them know they're being traded. If there's even a player to be traded, might be a player coming, might be assets going out and a trade coming in. But oh boy, there's all sorts of rumors around this team, and I think it's deserved. Without having Hronekin on the defensive end, our defense looks sketchy. It looks interesting. It looks bad. I wouldn't say bad. It just looks problematic if you're going to be a team that is making a dent in the playoffs, a team that's going to run deep into the playoffs. And look, I think the Canucks have a lot of pieces that are great. But it's going to be wild to see what happens, because I think that not only does this team have the pieces, and I think they have the management team to make the right moves. I mean, look at the moves they made last year, bringing in Lindholm and Zadorov. And even though we didn't keep them long term, they helped immensely on the back end and up front as a center, more of a winger for Lindholm, to let the Canucks get as deep as they did. I mean, we all remember the love affair that Vancouver and Vancouver media had for Zadorov. It's unfortunate that it's not working out well for him in Boston, despite his team romping us when they came into town. Since we last talked, Demko has come back into the lineup. Demko has had 3 starts and has looked good. I wouldn't say back up to Thatcher Demko standards, but in the 3 games, he has 3.32 goals against average, which is quite higher than his normal average, and an .881 save percentage, which is quite a bit below. But if you think about these 3 games as basically his training camp. That last game against Colorado, it wasn't until late in the third that they scored their first goal, and he looked fantastic in the game. And look, the only reason he was getting the starts as many starts as he did was because Kevin Lankinen came down with the flu, and it does sound like there are a bunch of Canucks players, not just Canucks players, but also Canucks staff that have the flu. So that also might be slowing down trade talks. I don't know what that looks like. I assume that there are going to be pieces working around the clock for something like this, for an NHL trade. But again, I am not 100% sure. I've never been in an NHL front office. That would be a dream job. Let's take a look at the lineups as we get 15 minutes away from the supposed puck drop. Projected lines for tonight. We have Garland, Miller, and Besser, DeBrusk, Pettersson, Max Sasson, which I think has been a fantastic fit on that line. His straightforward play, ability to get in, get deep, the speed he brings to that line, I think it's a really great fit. Then we have Heinen, Suter, and Sherwood, who we need to talk about. Then we have Joshua, Bluger, and Höglander. And then on defense, we have Hughes, Myers, Susie Juleson, Baranstam, Desharnais. Then we have Demko, and Lankinen is healthy enough to back up tonight. This is the first game of a back-to-back, so that will almost for sure indicate, unless something absolutely crazy happens, knock on wood, make sure nothing bad happens, Lankinen will be starting tomorrow against the Vegas Golden Knights. Kiefer Sherwood, we've ranted, raved, drooled over, talked about endlessly, but Kiefer Sherwood is the guy in Vancouver right now, coming off of a 3-goal performance. And I mean, the guy does it all. Even if he's not putting up goals and points, he's making hits, he's disrupting play, he's just making things work out there. And it's just awesome to watch him and see the chants, the Kiefer Sherwood chants throughout Rogers Arena last game on Monday. Hey, Charlie. The old man is back. However, he is dealing with an unfortunate case of pneumonia. So he is not here today. That's why we canceled the show last week, because I was really going to be relying on him to carry through. He was in chat for a little bit. I know he's heading home. He was at a doctor's appointment earlier today. Wish him well, because let's face it, I'm great at talking and I can talk endlessly about the Canucks forever and always. You guys don't come to hear just me talk. You come to listen to the old man and his crazy ideas and me ranting and raving against him. One thing I wanted to talk about, it's something I've noticed over the last little bit, and I'm actually pulling up stats here as we talk, but Dakota Joshua being put down onto the 4th line and getting less and less minutes in games is, I wouldn't say problematic. It's just one of those things that you don't like to see. I mean, a 28-year-old player who still here riveted to your words. Perfect. Dakota Joshua. Last year was a 32-point player in 63 games. This year obviously had a much tougher road during the off season to overcome with testicular cancer, getting clear and in remission from that. 3 points in 16 games. Last game, I just felt it was probably his worst game that he's played in a while, but he only had 8 minutes and 52 seconds of time on ice. And if you look, like, there's one game where he's had 15 minutes, but he isn't producing. And I don't blame Tocchet for moving him down, but he might be a piece that I wouldn't be shocked to see if the Canucks are looking to move someone from the roster. And after they move Höglander, I would not be surprised to see Dakota Joshua on that list. I'm just looking up his contract right now because I don't think it's on. Yeah, it's 3.25 for this year and 3 years after that. He does have a 12-team no trade clause. I don't know. It's something that's obviously we've seen the highs of Dakota Joshua. Jeff in chat on Facebook, I totally agree. He's lost his spunk. And I don't know if it's just simple as he's in a rut, but playing 8 minutes a night for a player that we had on what was called for a little while the third line, the best third line in Canucks hockey, is shocking to me. Looking at these lineups, I think he should be on that lineup on the third line with with Suter and Sherwood. I think that is something that is probably more beneficial to the team. Joshua and Suter are better setup men. Joshua finishes up those dirty areas in front of the net, and Sherwood is just fantastic. The old man chatting in and causing discussion, even without being on the show live, with EB40 and Miller not getting along. Do we need to get rid of one of them? Is it causing cancer in the dressing room? I'm finishing his thought, but I'm assuming that's what he wanted to say. Look, I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I can't wait for you to get back, old man, because I don't think you need to get along with everyone you play hockey with. You don't need to get along with everyone you go to school or go to work with. You need to be able to do your job. You need to be able to do things. And this idea that you need to have this happy-go-lucky, everyone needs to be a group and everyone needs to be a family, I don't think is true. I think it's a narrative that, and maybe it's my age and maybe it's what's showing, because this isn't the first time younger players are talking about this. But to me, it's one of those, Miller and Pettersson don't get along. Cool. That's great. Show up and do your job. There's going to be people you don't get along with in this life, and that's going to happen. I just think that you can't make a trade of these calibers of player. Jeff in chat again on Facebook. Pettersson will be a part of the trade. Good teams do not trade Pettersson level players. End of story. There's nothing else I can say on it. You do not trade a player as good as Pettersson unless you're getting a player that's better than Pettersson on the way back. Yes, old man in chat. Controversial way to state that, but yes, you need to put on your big boy pants. You need to come to the rink with an attitude of, you know what, I don't like Miller. I'm going to go beat him on the ice. Miller's too hard on me. Pettersson doesn't do this. I don't care which side you take in this. You show up, you do your job. Yeah, it's better when you get along. I don't disagree that you get a lot of assets. But this team is in a win now window. Like, you've got Hughes on a deal that teams would kill to have. You've got Demko and Lankinen playing lights out. Well, you got Lankinen playing lights out. Demko hopefully can get up there. Miller on a sweetheart deal. You've got Sherwood, Suter, Heinen. Like, you've got a lot of these pieces on deals that aren't. You've got Besser on a deal that you need to figure out with. Out of all the players in our top six right now, excluding Sasson, our top five right now, Besser to me is the one that should be the one that's talking about being traded. And that's not a shot at Besser. That's just cap management. He's going to be asking for a raise. Is he a piece that you think can win, or can you trade him for a high and get pieces back? Can you get a Bowen Byram? Can you get a Rasmus Anderson? Are those the type of pieces that you can get by trading away a Besser? Don't get me wrong. I think Besser's great. I think it'd be a travesty to trade him, but that's a player you can trade. Trading Pettersson would be, to me, signaling that the locker room is a problem, and which clearly, no matter what anyone says, when the media talks about it as much as they do, there's definitely something going on. If you're trading one of Pettersson or Miller, I don't care how much you like Miller. Miller is my age. Miller is 31. He'll be turning 32 this year. Pettersson is the one that will stay. Miller will be the one that's going. And I know Talkit probably likes Miller more. And that's not to say for any reason other than Miller and Talkit are very similar style players. But I think of the two, Miller and Pettersson needs to say Miller will be the one going. I don't see that happening. I think everyone needs to put on their big boy hats, put on their construction helmets, go to work and win. Because you know what solves all these issues? Winning hockey games. Winning hockey games solves these issues. And there's not a lot of things that can't be solved by winning. It's wild to me that it's even a conversation. And like, this team is, we're playing well. We're playing well enough to be in the top part of the division. I think once Hronek gets back, when we make a move for another top four defenseman, that And I say when because with the amount of talk or the amount of information that's out there that there's a trade happening or they're close to a trade, I think it's inevitable that they're going to be getting a top 4 player. But there's a lot of pieces happening, and I hope that Jim Rutherford and Patrick Allvin don't rush into things. And by I say rush, I mean do something crazy now. I'd much rather them try to find a trade. I hope that the rumors around the Canucks were they were in on Kako, they were in on Will Borgen, and obviously those trades happen, and nothing more is going to be talked about. That being said, we do know. I mean, look at the Hronek trade last year. That came out of nowhere. The Hronek trade came out of absolutely nowhere. There wasn't even someone talking about it. Was that last year or 2 years ago? Whenever the Hronek trade was, that trade came out of absolutely nowhere. We know Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford like to work in secret, work in the dark. And look, I have full faith in this head office. I have full faith in this team, or most of these pieces on the team. I'm looking at you, Myers and Susie, because those are the players. Susie, Myers, Desharnais. Those are the 3 players that I think would benefit the team the most by leaving the team. What else did I want to talk about? I had a few things listed here. Before I forget, I want to thank sponsor of the show, SeatGeek.com. SeatGeek.com. You can use HSP Pod to get $20 off your first ticket purchase, whether that's going and seeing your favorite team at the arena, going to see a show, a concert, anything that you want to go see, a musical performance, a ballet. It's Nutcracker time. Everyone's talking about the Nutcracker again because it happens every single year. You can go to SeatGeek.com and find your favorite seats for your favorite show or sporting event or event of any type. While you're there looking at the website, you can see very quickly which seats are great deals. They have a little green circle around them. Yellow deals, that's an okay deal, average price. Red, probably stay away from those and find other seats. And not only will you be able to find those green deals so easily because the UI is fantastic from SeatGeek, you'll also be able to save $20 extra off of your first ticket purchase. Use code HSPPOD to receive $20 off your first ticket purchase. Thank you so much, SeatGeek, for sponsoring the show. Yes, DJ, thank you. Thank you to the other guy, as he has now been given the name. Hronek was there all last year. We moved, the same year we moved Bo is when we got Hronek, so 2 years ago. Look, as we head into this game against the Kraken, or not the Kraken. Why did I say the Kraken? That's where my brain's at. I say Kraken because I was thinking Will Borgen. As we head into the game against Utah, I think this is a very pivotal, I wouldn't say pivotal game, but this is a very important game. This back-to-back Utah, Vegas back-to-back is probably something that's going to become more normal. Even if it's not back-to-back, two games in 3 days. It's a super quick flight, super quick turnaround to be able to get to those teams. And this Utah Hockey Club team, this Utah team is a team that I think has potential to be able to steal that wild card position. But it's one of those games that you need to come out quick because Utah can play a fast game of hockey. They've got a lot of youth. If you can get them down, hopefully that helps lower things with them, bring them down a little bit, allows us to keep going. But unfortunately, we do not know what's going to happen. I said unfortunately, but fortunately, I think we have the pieces in place. And we do know that if the Canucks come out in the first 4 or 5 minutes, they will be killing it, getting a bunch of goals and being able to just smother the game like they did in Florida and in Colorado. that is the show for the day. Half an hour of me babbling about you. Charlie, no, we did not get a lot of snow here in Calgary, thankfully. It's icy, it's miserable, it's foggy and cold, but we did not get that much snow. Thankfully, it sounds, I think if everything goes according to plan, according to the weather network, we're going to be getting like a 20 degree, 30 degree flip like overnight or into tomorrow. I think it's supposed to get to like 14 or 15, or that's what it was scheduled a week ago, 3 days, 4 days ago. So who knows if that's actually still going to be true. But as we tee you up, going into the Vancouver Canucks at Utah Hockey Club, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. 2 weeks, because we will not be here on Christmas Day. We will be back on January 1st, more than likely. Stay tuned to our socials to know when we're going to be going live. That is at HSP_pod on YouTube, Twitter, or X, or whatever it is you want to call it. Facebook. You can also find us on Blue Sky at HS Pod. The only one that's slightly different. Blue Sky, HS Pod there. And until next time we see you, have yourselves a wonderful week. Wonderful time. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever it is you celebrate. Fantastic New Year. We will see you in 2025. My call tonight: Patterson scores, JT Miller scores, Lankinen gets the shutout. I said the words before the game, the puck drop. Don't blame me if it doesn't happen. Mwah.